Do you have any Hooper news for us that Fitz didn't?
No, I know our physios are working with the Wallaby physios around the time frames, and from what I understand, it's minimum at this stage, I'd say 4 weeks.
Okay. So potentially season, obviously.
No, we'd hope to have him back in our final series, ideally.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. It's very early, so they'll keep working through it.
How do you manage that with going into these 3 games that we really have to win without him? Such a big presence.
Oh, he's a massive presence. He'll still be here off field. The key thing for us is the whole point of us coaching 2-3 deep is to make sure that when this does happen, that other people step into their role, and we're confident the guys who play behind him, it's now their chance. The door's open. They've got to go. So we'll be fine.
Izzy Folau also obviously has a hearing at some point this week. Are you guys preparing for him to not be available? Or?
I'd be stunned if he's not available. Personally, I think it's an interesting decision to even send him there. But they've made that call, so he'll go and defend himself. You probably saw it. Personally, I think if you're in the air and you're 3 foot off the ground, 4 foot off the ground, he's quite high off the ground. It's I would think they'd look at their one-man lifting technique. I know we do a lot of it, and the balance that they had, but I'd be surprised. It'll be a bit of a nanny state if they pull him.
Do you feel like teams in Super Rugby will start using that technique more and more to target Izzy if they think he might get suspended or yellow carded? Or
At the end of the day, it's hard to make decisions too much in the air around the contact zone, but my understanding of the law is that when you're both competing for the ball, you're both competing for the ball. Now, it'd be a different story if for example, I saw Angus's decision around the guy who wasn't off the ground making contact with somebody who is in the air, and to be fair, I probably agree with his decision there. That's where you get yourself in trouble. But when 2 guys are in the air competing for the ball, you're competing for the ball. So, the only way around that is maybe we change the sport and say you're not allowed to leave the ground and turn it into under 12s. I'm not sure. Something like that. Harsh?
No, that's fair enough. When do you find out about Izzy's hearing?
I'm not actually sure. I'm assuming that his hearing happens tonight. I could be wrong, but it'll be pretty quick, I would think. And the people will go in there with the side to it, and hopefully we'll find out sooner rather than later.
Regardless of the outcome of Izzy's hearing, do you think that will put doubt in guys' mind who are jumping for the air? In particular, he does it more than anyone.
Oh, look, I don't think it can. I think we've got to keep playing the game the way it's designed to be played, meaning when a ball goes in the air and there's 2 guys competing, you jump. I think if everyone stops jumping, then it ends up a debacle. What happens next? And I think the referees are pretty good, usually around that area, making decisions around what's good. And we've had presentation after presentation around what goes and what doesn't. And like I say, we've had Angus Gardner in here, and he's showing us video of what goes, what doesn't. We're really clear on what we think you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. So, and it states it in the law. So I'd be surprised if it changes. I think they just need to revisit it themselves, probably.
What are your options with that back row to tweak around there? Obviously, Will Miller's been playing quite well.
Yeah, Miller's a good chance. He's a 7 naturally as well, so he's a good option for us. We've also got Ned Hannigan coming back now, so he gives us more opportunity around 6 and second row. So we've got a few scenarios we can play with, and we're deep in thought at the moment around what will best suit for the Rebels. So there's a couple of options. We're not stuck.
Okay, is Dempsey still any chance playing this year?
No, Demo's not an opportunity this week or the week after. I think they're taking him slowly to make sure that he's fully 100% when he comes back, and he's not an option for us in the next few weeks in this final series, or in the next 3 games that I know of.
Okay. Yeah. And in terms of a captain, have you thought about where that's at?
We'll probably discuss that later this afternoon. There's probably a couple of guys that can work. I think it'll work around. We'll go, okay, what's our team mix first, and then look at who the best option is around captain. But we've got a couple of really good leaders, and we've got a good second-tier leadership group now starting to develop. So, I think we'll probably make a decision on that before training tomorrow.
Do you feel more pressure to start Tolu after what he did on the weekend? Or not?
I thought Tolu was really good. He came off the bench in the weekend. He didn't start for them, and I thought he came off the bench and had an enormous amount of impact, and he does that for us. And we're 16 rounds in, and any Super Rugby player at this stage of the season should be able to come on the field and do a good job, and he did that. It'll be really around horses for courses. We've got a big belief starters and finishers. In baseball, your finishers are the ones that get paid the most. and Tolu came on at the end of the game when it mattered and did a really good job. So for us, it's probably more around what stage of the game do we want Tolu or Fitzy or Roachu to be playing, and it's whether they start or finish. And as you can tell in tight games, your finishers are sometimes more important than your starters. So you've got to have that philosophy.
And just on the Rebels game as a whole, I mean, it's a pretty big game.
She's a big game. Yeah. She's a big game. Every game's a big game. Like I think, you look at some games through this year, that we got close and didn't quite take, or we won in the last minute, like the Stormers. Every game's important. So the Rebels is a huge one. And I saw Whistles came out and mentioned about the point scenario. If they get points, they take it off us. Vice versa. If we get points, we take it off them. So she'll be a battle. Yeah, we'll go at it though.
No Wilgenia, definitely no Wilgenia, maybe no Adam Coleman as well. How does that change the picture for you guys?
Well, I think the last 3 games they won, there was no Wilgenia anyway. Look, he's a great player, and he's no doubt a loss for them. But I think, they've won the last 3 without him, so they'll be pretty confident around that stuff. And they've got a few guys playing some pretty good rugby, and so it's really going to be a good battle. It'll be a good battle.
Anybody else that's come out with niggles from the Wallabies test for you guys?
I think only small little things that'll just change the training slightly. Like I think most of them are pretty good. Just niggles like you're a bit stiff and tight. So we'll probably have to go a bit light, like the Rebels guys with them. We'll have to go light on our Wallabies this week to make sure they're fresh and ready to go come game day on Friday. She's closer.